God, continue to speak as you are. Lord, I thank you for every individual that has laid their life down for nation. God, that every individual who has become the cost of freedom. Lord, I pray right now that you would bless their families, that you would encourage them, or that you would help them to see the sacrifice and the cost, and that you would allow them to have a hope and peace and knowing the freedom that we now live within because of that. And Lord, just speak right now as I begin to preach, as I begin to share with these people. Amen. Amen. You know, this sermon series is simply titled, Fighting for It. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in that place before where you felt like you were in a battle of battles, where you felt like you have had to really, in a significant way, face something of great challenge, something of great difficulty, something that we felt was just too much, something we felt was just going to overcome us, something that we felt was just too great a burden for us to get on the other side of. I really feel like there's this tension that exists. There's this tension that exists between what we wanted or what we thought we would be or what we thought we would have or what we assumed we would experience at any point in our life. There's this tension between what we really wanted out of life and what we really got out of life. I mean, you know, I remember the earliest stages in my life feeling as though God was calling me to ministry, knowing for certain that God was asking me to participate in His work in our nation, that God was asking me to participate in the church, in ministry, in the area of pastoring a church. And I remember all of the things that circulated in my mind as to what that was going to be, what that was going to be like, and how different it is than what it was. How different it is than what I thought it would be. And there's this tension that exists. There's this struggle that often exists from what we wanted and where we are now. Now, you know, this plays out in big ways in our lives. I'm going to say a word, and I don't want you to freak out, especially my kids. I'm going to say a word, and I don't want you to freak out because this is one of the greatest examples I have right now to think about the change that happens whether we're prepared or not. The resilience needed, okay? Because we all need resilience. Parents need resilience, and teenagers need resilience to do this. Puberty. You're like, no, please, Pastor. No, but seriously, all right? I remember the moment that I looked in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, I got a mustache growing in here. Oh, come on, you guys. Gentlemen, you know you've been there. My son is 9 years old, and he's like, Dad, I'm growing a beard. I'm like, okay. And his sisters are like, and I was like, just go with it. Seriously, like, don't disappoint him. All right? I mean, you guys know, those first three, and I'm talking about the guys for a minute, okay? Those first three chest hairs, and you're like, ooh, I'm becoming a man. Don't get uncomfortable, okay? All right? I'm like talking about some seriously personal stuff right now. All right, and you have an odor all your own. Now, you may walk around thinking, I smell like a man. Everybody else, you smell like a locker room. But like seriously, like puberty hits you and you're like, oh my goodness, and all this, you're just like, ooh, you know, I'm becoming a man, and then all of a sudden you feel like all over your face are craters that just begin to develop out of nowhere, and you're like, whoa, these are pimples? Like seriously, why? What for? I mean, hello. Now I'm a grown adult now, okay? I'm approaching 40. Some of you are like, what? Okay, so I'm sitting at a restaurant with my wife, and we're just eating, and all of a sudden I feel this feeling of a pluck happening on the top of my ear. And I'm like, what was that? And she's like, your hair's growing right there. I'm like, what? What? And she's like, yeah, there's a little bit in your ear too. Oh, by the way, you need to trim your nose. Like, these are changes I wasn't prepared for. These are like, oh boy, I don't know. Okay, you can handle this. You can handle this. All right. And then you become a parent. And you thought your puberty was rough. You blink, and suddenly my girls are cute, okay? They've always been cute, and suddenly you blink and they transition from cute to beautiful. And they transition from adorable to, wow, seriously, like gorgeous. And they, it's so hard at times because you're not prepared for this. You're not ready for this. These moments catch up with you all of a sudden. You feel like you had all this time with your kids. You've experienced all these wonderful things. You've experienced all this, and it's been amazing. And all of a sudden, like my two oldest, all of a sudden you look at them and you're thinking in your mind they're becoming women. And it's terrifying and exciting all at the same time. And you felt like from the beginning stages, like, I'm going to have kids. My wife is going to have the kids, but I was a part of it. We're going to have kids, and we're going to experience these wonderful things. And, oh, man, these babies, they're beautiful to hold and wonderful. Ashley, congratulations, by the way. So my wife says 4 and no more. I tried. But anyway, so you're rocking these little babies and you're kissing them and they have this beautiful, distinct smell and you're like, wow. And then all of a sudden, everything changes. You blink and you're looking at a young woman. You're looking at a young woman and you're just like, I can't believe the things that are happening. I can't believe how fast life is changing. Like, when we're talking about fighting for it, when we're talking about resilience, when we're talking about going to it, going for it, and just going with the strength and grace of God to push forward, I know that change is sudden. Change can be rapid. Change can create fear. In a book that was published some time ago, Alvin Toffler, I think it was 1970, Alvin Toffler of Future Shock said this: change is avalanching upon our heads, and most people are grotesquely unprepared to cope with it. Now, this statement is oppressive, but it's true. This statement can feel a bit oppressive, but it's real. There's so much happening all the time. There's so much rapidly changing. I mean, we're talking about drones delivering Amazon boxes right now. Like, what is happening? I mean, there is so much. All of a sudden, I feel like we began to transition. Things began to change. Things began to develop as a nation. Things began to develop as individuals. And all of a sudden, there is all these things that are rapidly, exponentially changing as we get more wise, or maybe not more wise, but as things are more readily available for us to put our hands on. I mean, there is so much happening. And we've got to be people that are fighting for it. We've got to be people that are fighting for resilience. I know, I would love that resilience would just suddenly be something that I automatically have, but it doesn't work that way. Resilience is something that comes with development and testing and struggle. Our credible concerns have the power to become our continual constraints. Our credible concerns have the power to become our continual constraints. Think about this for a minute, okay? Our very credible concerns. Someone told me this morning that they felt like God was saying, we are going to be wrestling with fear today. This is very, very real. We have credible concerns. We have things that are happening all around us. We have things that create major disruptions in our lives, things that we weren't planning for, things that interrupt the process. All right? This last week, my sump pump fails. I'm at work, and my wife calls, and she's like, I don't know what to do. The water's increasing, and we're like, okay, let's mobilize. We call some people. They come out. It was amazing. We threw some temporary pumps in there to get the water going and moving, and then we were able to get a new pump in there. But we weren't ready for that. We weren't prepared. I know that seems like a simple thing, and it really is a simple thing that could have been a really bad thing. Okay, it could have been a really challenging thing, but seriously, like there are things that interrupt our lives, things that we're not prepared for, layoffs that happen, jobs that change, money, financial issues that are suddenly gone. All right, things that interrupt. things that we were ill-prepared for, things that we didn't know were coming. I mean, I know that children are resilient, but it is so true that oftentimes kids who walk through childhood where these credible concerns that become the constraints that they live with, that they exist with throughout their adulthood. Like there's just these things that are always happening. Some people, like, resilience just comes natural. It's just a part of their, their makeup, their individuality. I mean, my wife is resilient. I mean, she is put it to it and just go for it, move forward, get it done, make it happen. All right? She is so strong, and I thank God all the time that he brought me to her, because her resilience has increased my ability to overcome and get through things. Because just being real with you guys this morning, resilience is something I'm still working on. Some of us, we have it, some of us don't. We know that there's perils in all of that. And think about this for a minute, okay? How many times have you ever been knocked down and wanted to stay down? How many times have you ever had something that has happened to you that has made you just want to say, nope, I'm done, I'm finished, I can't handle any more of this, I am through, that's it. Now, I'm not talking about suicide, though some people I know struggle with that very real issue. But I'm talking about, like at times in your life where you're just like, I'm not crawling out of bed today. I am not adulting right now, okay? I mean, there are moments in our lives where we're just like, I don't want to deal with it. I mean, for those of you, I think my two kids are no, there's others in high school or middle school. Like, you get up and you're like, nope, no. I don't want to deal with that teacher. I don't want to deal with that school project. I don't want to, We all go through them. We all go through these struggles. It doesn't matter how vigorously we run in the direction opposite of that moment where things are suddenly turned upside down. There is no escaping from it. It doesn't matter how fast we run. There's no escape. It doesn't matter how fast in the opposite direction. We're like, okay, I'm going to gain some distance. I got some traction. I'm going to move away from this. And we try, but it's still there. Here's another truth. We expect disruptions, but the disruptions are never what we expected. Like, we expect them. Like, okay, it's going to happen. My life is going to be disrupted. It's going to be interrupted. Things are going to take place. I'm going to start growing hairs on the outside of my ears. It's just going to happen. Okay. Well, I thought that just happened to old people. Ouch. I'm sorry. I'm quickly approaching. Some of you are like, shut up. You're still young. Anyway, we expect disruptions. We expect things to happen. We expect moments in our lives. We think, okay, this is, this is real. This is reality. Things are going to happen. And we expect those disruptions. We expect those things to happen. We know that things change. We know that life is a place where we're T-boned by the greatest, most unexpected things. And periods of disruption have caused, that are unexpected, have turned our life upside down. It's an automobile accident. It's an illness, the death of a loved one, divorce, national tragedies, acts of terrorism and war, the disasters of floods and hurricanes. I was just hearing about Florida today and how their trees are gone as a result of storms, and it's getting so hot there and they're unable to hide from the weather. Financial upheavals, loss of employment. Things of all kinds challenge our ability to cope. Things of all kinds come against us, and we face these make it or break it moments where we're just like, I don't know if I can. We got to fight for it. We got to be people that are fighting for it. We're going to be people that are saying, okay, this is what it is, but I am going to be the best that God has created me to be. Don't do this, okay? Don't be like, okay, I'm a Christian now. I can handle this. All right, that's the quickest way to fall flat on your face. Honestly. Don't think you got it figured out. Well, hear a sermon, be like, oh, pastor, man, he got me going. You know, my backbone feels a little stronger. I'm gonna handle this week. No. All right, you cannot overcome the things that you are facing without the strength of God right there with you. You see, the resilience of a heart joined to the power of Christ sees the best of every situation. We can see pain, trials, and weakness as the beginning of strength. Personal struggle as an opportunity for greater faith, and sinfulness in us or others is a place where we are refined. Where things happen, amazing things happen, changes happen. Resilience of a heart joined with the power of Christ sees the best in every situation. Is it gone? Woo! Yep. The battery's dead. The battery's dead. Okay. Yeah, let me get some batteries. See? Ugh. This is intermission. How long has it been dead for?
Only this slide.
Okay. Go ahead, just don't worry. Go ahead and turn my wife's mic on. Check. Where are you at? Is this? All right. Where are we at? There we go. See? Interrupted. Let's get back to it. Okay. James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. This is a familiar verse. And this is a verse that we have got to allow to resonate with our hearts. This is what it says. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith, is it ringing back now? The testing of your faith develops perseverance. There, woo, why are you testing my faith right now? Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything. Okay, while I'm talking on this, if someone could put some new batteries in this, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Liberty. All right. That's what I get for not checking the batteries before I started here. All right, so unpacking James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Guys, whenever you face trials, not if, not maybe, not it could, not perhaps, no, whenever. That means it's inevitable. That means it's going to happen. That means that there's no avoiding it. That means that at some point, some stage in your life, you are going to look at something and say, okay, I'm facing a trial. I'm facing a challenge. All right? And they're all different kinds. These trials are different. These trials manifest themselves in different ways. These trials are of many kinds. You just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know what's going to affect you. You don't know what's coming. Whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. All right? Yes, I like that part. I like the produces perseverance. I like the idea of perseverance. I like the idea of the faith to overcome. I like the idea of the ability to face whatever's coming into my life, the ability to face whatever struggle is happening. I love the producing of perseverance. I don't like the testing of your faith. I may know that. I may come to an understanding and say, okay, my faith being tested is going to produce perseverance in me. My faith being pushed against is going to develop perseverance in my life. That means that I'm going to be stronger for it. That means that I'm going to be greater for it. That means that God is going to work within me in a way that when the storms come, when the challenges come, when the difficulties come, when things happen in my life, I am going to be able to push through. And then in verse 4, let perseverance finish its work. It creates maturity. It creates completeness. It says you don't lack anything. There's not a lacking in anything. It's this beautiful thing that begins to finish its work. This struggle, these trials, these temptations, these difficulties, these interruptions in our lives, these moments where we have to fight to discover greater resilience and greater ability to face whatever's coming. Yes, it's beautiful. The manifestation of what happens when we fight against it and we get to those places is wonderful. It is amazing. Maturity is incredible when it finishes its work. Check. Woo, there we go. Maturity is incredible when it finishes its work, but there's all that testing part. There's all that promise and assurance of facing trials. There's all that many kinds that are going to come. It's going to happen, church. We're going to face it. We've got to develop a resolve. We've got to develop a resilience. Some have called it grit. I am going to make it through this. I am going to fight through this. I am not going to allow this to knock me back. I'm going to trust in God, and I'm going to push through. I'm going to push through. I printed some things. If somebody could help me pass these out. Someone, quick. All right. Come here, Jillian. That's cool. All right, one of you on one side, one of you on the other. All right, these are just some verses that I want to read to you guys in the area of don't give up, okay? Don't give up. Now, I don't have time to really unpack all of these. I just wanted to put this on display in front of you so that you guys could take this home, that you guys could put it on your mirror in your bathroom. You guys can put this wherever you can to make sure that it is in a local enough place where you're going to see it. These are familiar verses, but how many of you know that even though you are familiar with things, you have to remind yourself of those things constantly? Don't give up. 2 Chronicles 15:7 says, "But as for you, be strong and courageous, for your work will be rewarded." Don't give up when the sin still crouching at your door pounces again with temptation. All right, I'm just going to move through these. You guys can look at the scriptures, read the scriptures, and know that they're backed up by the scripture, the truth. Don't give up when the devil's still firing doubts that make you real, that just kind of knock you off balance. Don't give up when you failed in sin. Don't give up when you feel weariness from battles with persistent weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9 in there, it says, each time he said, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weakness." Boasting about weakness, what? He's boasting about his weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me. You are going to have persistent battles. You're going to have persistent struggles. You're going to have persistent difficulties, but take heart. Be strong. Be courageous. Know that his power, his grace is all you need. There is something significant and profound about that statement. His grace is what I need to face every single day. Don't give up when your prayers have yet to be answered. Don't give up when pressure is relentless. Don't give up when you serve in obscurity and wonder if it really matters. Don't give up when your reputation has been attacked, especially in faithfulness to Jesus. Don't give up when waiting on God seems endless. Isaiah 30 and 31, even youths will become weak and tired, and young men will fall in exhaustion. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar on high. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Don't give up where God has placed you. Where God has placed you is hard and nothing looks promising. Galatians 6:9. So let's not grow tired. Let's not get tired of doing what is good. And just the right time, at just the right time, we will reap a harvest blessing, a harvest of blessing. If we don't give up. we will experience it. It will be incredible. It will be amazing. It will change everything about us and about our lives and about our existence. That's the scripture that I had my son read this morning. I'm sitting over here, we're sitting, and we're worshiping, and he's like, hey, Dad, can I preach with you? Now, you want to talk about resilience, okay? You want to talk about resilience. Don't be like, oh, he's so sweet. Yeah. No, he can test your patience in ways that you never thought a child could test your patience. But some of you guys in this room, you've been on a journey with us. You've watched some things. You've seen some things. You've witnessed a child who used to hide, a child who used to run in places and hide in corners because he just didn't like people. He didn't want to be around people. Now, after church, after all that, he might be like, nope, don't talk to me. It's been too people-y today. All right? He might be like that. But seriously, like the fact that he is standing on the stage at different moments, actually standing before you and stuttering through a Bible verse and sharing something with you is significant. I love watching the resolve of children. I know that, it's awful. I hate the fact that I cannot insulate them enough from being affected by the world that they live in and being affected by things that happen. I want to protect them from all of that. But when things happen, when they are faced with things, when challenging and difficult situations enter their life and it feels like everything's flipped upside down, I can watch my children and watch how they face the day. I hold them when they're crying and embrace them, and they oftentimes don't even realize that the strength I'm giving them is actually reciprocal. I'm giving them strength, but they in return are giving me strength. That the things that they're facing are giving me courage to face the things that I'm facing. And Grace is looking at me like, Dad, don't cry. Don't worry, I won't. All right. Don't give up. Don't give up. And there's got to be a change in perspective. We need to make a choice in perspective. Like seriously, why is this happening to me? Who said that before? Who said that before? Why? All right. How many of you guys have had your children say that and you're like, no, seriously? Okay. I spilled my cereal. Why is this happening to me? Oh, come on. You guys have never heard your children. It may be in different phrases and ways that they've said it, but we've all been there, though. We've looked at our situation. We've looked at what's going on in our lives. We've looked at the challenges, and we say to ourselves, why is this happening? Why am I facing this? Why am I up against this? Why is this the reality that I exist within? Why am I suddenly in a place where everything's been flipped upside down? I am fighting for it. I'm going for it. I'm doing my best. I'm struggling through this. But seriously, God, why is this happening to me? Being entirely transparent with you guys right now in this moment, it has been just over 2 years at Easter Seals, and sometimes I find myself saying, why is this happening to me? Don't take it personal. It just is. Why is this happening to me? Why did changes happen? Why did things happen in a way that it required me to get a job? Now, in those times of why this is happening to me, or we face those moments where we say, why is this happening to me? We need to instead ask ourselves, what are you trying to grow in me? Now, why is this happening to me? What are you trying to grow in me? Now, I'll tell you right now, when I walked into that job, I had no idea what I was in store for. I had no idea what was coming. I had no idea what was going to happen. But I'll tell you this right now, honestly, I had a blind spot to a people that I had yet to fully understand and know. I had a blind spot completely to those dealing with special needs like those who are in that residential program. I had no idea. My eyes have been open. What are you trying to grow in me? There is so much I can't even begin to express in very little detail in the short time I have this morning just how much has happened in my life as a result of me working there. And compassion has increased. My resilience, my resolve There's a coworker that I got there, and she's like, oh, you came with all these, like, she told me this a year later. You came with all these, like, I'm going to change the world. Everything is great. God is good, and nothing's going to get me down and all that stuff. And she's like, I thought you were going to run out of here, like, 4 weeks into it and just be done. Like, it's good sometimes to leverage stubbornness, isn't it? It's good sometimes to say, nope, I'm going to stand strong. I'm going to believe. I'm going to be here in this. What are you trying to grow in me? When we are in the midst of difficulty, the power and plan of God becomes the secure embrace where we can rest our weary soul. Catch that. When we are in a difficult situation, when we are in a difficult situation. You see, it is our greatest troubles that God is shaping us for the greatest triumphs. It is in our greatest troubles. It is in your greatest troubles. It is in your greatest moments. You have got to fight for it. You've got to fight for it. You've got to be willing to embrace whatever may come. You need to be willing to deal with and trust God. It is in our greatest troubles that God is shaping us for the triumphs, for the greatest triumphs. And I've experienced some triumphs in my life. And I've had conversations with you. You've experienced some triumphs in your life. But how many of you guys were to sit back and think about the triumphs, think about the things that you've overcome, think about the things that you have broken through, the resilience that's been created in your heart because of, and you've had those triumphs, but before those triumphs, you were asking the question, why is this happening to me? You were facing those difficulties. You were coming in contact with a very real struggle, and you just would wonder, like, why, God, why? And then you found out later that the why God was going to manifest itself in a moment that you never thought you would be able to overcome. In a moment that you never thought you would be able to push through, to punch through and say, okay. Not in self, but God working in you. Not in self, but Jesus giving you strength, giving you courage, giving you resolve. When we are in the midst of difficulty, the power and plan of God becomes the secure embrace where we can rest our weary souls. So this morning, what are you, Lord, trying to grow in me? What is He trying to grow in you? What is He trying to develop in you? What is He trying to do in your life? What is God speaking to you right now? What is He saying? What is He saying? How can you position yourself to hear His voice? How can you position yourself to discover just what is being said? Life interrupted. Life happens to us. Life shoves us to the side. Life causes struggle. Life, it's so brutal sometimes, and you just get knocked down and you just don't want to get up. In those moments, though, listen. God, what are you saying? God, what are you saying? God, what are you saying? What are you saying? I tell you, one of the things that we can immediately know that He's saying, and that is trust me. I'll tell you that right now. Trust me. Trust my Son Jesus. Trust me. Trust my Son Jesus. He came. He conquered. All right? Take heart, right? Take heart. How does that play out? Because I have what? Overcome the world, right? I've overcome. I'm going to take heart. Lean on me. Trust in me. Believe in me. Believe in the work that I'm doing. Believe in what I'm accomplishing. Believe in what Jesus has done. Trust in Him. Trust in Him. Why? Because He's overcome. And we become overcomers with Him. What is He saying to you right now? What is He trying to do in you? What is He trying to accomplish in your life? What is it? Grab it. grab it and trust him. Trust his sovereignty and his control of all things. And let him lead you. Yep. You guys could still hear me. I'm kind of loud, right? Yeah. Ugh. I love you guys. I love you guys. Listen for his voice. There's something you are going through right now, something you may be going through just down the road, something that may happen that you just were completely unprepared for. Some of you in this room, man, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. And the brilliant work of God has unfolded in your life, and it has been amazing to see. Do us all a favor and share that story so that we can be encouraged. What is he saying? Listen. I know I keep saying that a lot, but I really want you to listen. Father, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for truth. We thank you for getting us on track at the beginning stage of this message series. I pray, God, that you would speak to us in profound ways. Lord, that when we know that your word tells us that your work is completed in us, that when we face trials of many kinds, that testing is development, it's growth. There's something marvelous that you're working out in our lives. Help us to trust you in the process. Help us to trust you in wherever you're leading. Help us to trust you when we are walking through some of the most difficult, challenging, overwhelming, horrible of times. Help us to trust you and trust the work that you're doing. And God, help us to listen. Help us not to ask why this is happening to us. Help us to ask, what are you trying to do in me? What are you trying to accomplish in me? Because in every moment, God, in every challenge, in every difficulty, even the greatest of things, there is something that you are always working through in us. You are an amazing God. May we be struck with wonder as we watch you work inside our hearts. Oh. You are so good, God. You are so good. It's in your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.